Okay, here we go.
Yep.
A young insurance agent named Mark Wendell doesn't need to be convinced that he needs to buy life insurance. He was killed less than a mile away from his home, being a passenger in a car that was broadsided by a guy who ran a red light. He was 30 years old when he died, just celebrated his first year anniversary of his marriage, and he died 19 days before the birth of his daughter, Madison Grace. Because he had a life insurance policy, his wife was able to pay off their home, put money away for their daughter for college, and she was able to be a stay-at-home mom and not have to worry about the financial burdens that comes with death and a family without having life insurance. I'm going to show you a video of a real-life story of a family who suffered the loss of a family member and was able to live a prosperous life by having a life insurance policy. So, I'm going to play this video.
All the cars began to stop in front of us. And so Preston was like, we have to help him. And it was by the grace of God that I missed what happened next.
A few moments later, a car coming too fast up the road swerved and hit Preston. And he was killed.
Life insurance is something that most people in their 20s don't get.
When I first met Preston, he had talked about his family. I knew they had a void in our insurance package. They didn't have any life insurance. I told Preston that life insurance is very inexpensive, and he might be surprised on what they could actually afford.
Jerry mentioned the idea of life insurance to Preston.
We made up a couple proposals. He took them home to his wife, Tara, and they talked things over.
If anything did happen, we could stay home with our kids. Preston was an incredible father. He was always family first. Before anything, it was family first.
Are you this ready? Get to know a farmer's agent today. Find yours at farmers.com.
For those of you that have experienced the loss of a loved one in your family and have either directly or indirectly experienced the financial burdens or the financial security as a result of that loved one, you're going to hear more life stories today that if you don't have life insurance, it will make you consider purchasing a policy. As a life insurance agent for nearly a decade, I have had many experiences with clients who have lost loved ones and knowing the outcome of having life insurance. I've also experienced 2 deaths this year in my family, and I have experienced both directly and indirectly the financial burdens of my family member not having enough life insurance, and I've also experienced the financial success of my extended family whose husband died and they had the life insurance to maintain their home and their way of life. People who have had positive experiences with life insurance will say today that it plays a vital role following the death of a loved one. Some people express a regret of not buying life insurance or not having enough when it's too late. Many young people between the ages of 18 and 27, they don't have life insurance. They neglect to get it. Or they buy it when it's too late. Excuse me. To further understand the importance of having life insurance, it's important to answer these 3 questions. 1, why won't young people buy life insurance today? What are the positives of having life insurance in place? And what are the negative results of not having enough life insurance or having a policy at all, period? First, let's answer the question of why young people don't buy it. Well, they think that nothing will happen to them. They're 10 feet tall, bulletproof, they're invincible, okay? And this leads them into the false sense of security, which will in turn result in the possibility of financial ruin should something happen to them unexpectedly. Whether you are single or with dependents, it's important to have life insurance in place as early as possible because young people are generally pretty healthy, usually don't have to worry about health problems that will take effect on you later on in life. You can normally buy an insurance policy at a more affordable rate than those that are 40 and 50 years old, and the premium rates will stay the same even as you get older in your older age, depending on the type of policy you buy from the time that you sign it. And the premiums will not go up should you occur any health changes in your life. Part of being a responsible adult is making sure that all of your loose ends are tied up in the event of your death. Making sure that all your bills will be paid and not left to your family and friends to take care of. Because just because you're dead, that doesn't mean your bills go with you. And if you don't have that critical piece of financial security in place, and you leave that burden to your family, you're pretty much telling your family that their well-being and quality of life doesn't matter to you. Secondly, what are some positives of having life insurance? Funeral costs. Your funeral will be paid for. Somebody's got to pay for it if you don't. The average cost of a funeral right now from LAMRA shows that it is $7,000 to $10,000 average cost of a funeral. Having adequate life insurance will ensure that your children have an opportunity to attend college and achieve their dreams. From 2010 to 2011, the academic year, colleges have rated between $120,000 to $130,000 for a 4-year degree. Having a life insurance policy will ensure the security of those that you are leaving behind. More importantly, it will show your surviving family that you care enough about them to make sure that they are taken care of long after you're gone and continue living the life they're used to. What are some negative effects of not having life insurance? Well, if you die without having adequate life insurance, you stand a chance of putting your family and your children in jeopardy of having to move out of their home. In the U.S. Census Bureau, about 2.5 million people die every day. To sum up these numbers, 6,850 people die every day in our country. 92 million Americans making under $50,000 a year that don't have life insurance. That means that 2,016 people die every day without life insurance, and another 832 die without having adequate enough life insurance, with a total number of 2,848 people stand a chance at losing their homes every day from their family members dying without having life insurance. Lack of life insurance has caused widows and widowers to have to change their lifestyle drastically, having to borrow money from friends, taking additional liens out on personal vehicles and or their equities in their homes, if they keep them. Excuse me. And it has also caused widows and widowers to move into smaller housing or into communities that they're unfamiliar with. A real-life story, Peggy and Dan Claus. Peggy was a computer specialist who owned her own firm, and she got, based on what the story says here, she was real good friends with an insurance agent who did all of his computer work for his office. She was very successful in her career because she was making a lot more money. They had to increase their life insurance. To sum it up, she came down with breast cancer 3 years after she started her business, died 2 years later. But because they increased their life insurance, her husband was able to stay at home with their children, buy a life insurance policy, use their life insurance policy to pay off their mortgage, and he could be a stay-at-home dad, take care of their family, because that's what they would have wanted. Life insurance can be a lifesaver to people who are facing a tragic event like the loss of a loved one. The important thing to remember is making sure that your family has enough life insurance in the event that you die so they can cover all bases in your life. You can ask yourself this question: if I die today, what will my legacy be to the people I left behind? I will leave you today with the opportunity of financial security of your life, and make sure that your family will not suffer the financial burdens that you heard of today. And when the good Lord does call you home, you can have a peace of mind that your family will live a long, prosperous life long after you're gone. Thank you.
And that guy, Big Trevor, is number 9.